Well, let's get more reaction on this story, and we're joined on the line by News 24 Editor-in-Chief Adriaan Basson. He's reported extensively on the alleged corruption involving Bosasa and Correctional Services Department. Mr. Basson, thank you very much for your time. So, another Gupta-style closure of accounts by the banks, long overdue?
Morning, Xoli. Yes, indeed. The bank, specifically FNB, has been providing banking services to the Bosasa group for over a decade, and these allegations of corruption aren't new. They've been in the public domain for many years. But it seems that Agritsi's evidence before the Zondo Commission and the criminal charges you've just referred to in the courts was the final straw that broke the camel's back.
Talk to me about the option that they chose to go with here. They're going into voluntary liquidation as a result of them not being able to access accounts. The other option was that of business rescue. Do you think this was a smart move on their part?
Look, I'm not an expert in that kind of financial arrangements, but it's possibly jumping before you are being pushed. The statement that I've had under eye just now is tries to create sympathy for the group and what they're going through, and saying that they couldn't find any institution locally or internationally willing to bank them. And it's impossible to run a business without a bank account. You can't pay salaries, you can't receive income, you can't pay your creditors. So it was just an impossible situation for Bosasa, or African Global as the company is now being called. One has to see what this means in terms of winding up the business. The company has got big government contracts, including providing food to thousands of prisoners. So one has to wait now for government to react to this voluntary liquidation to see how that will be handled. But obviously a liquidator, and not anyone can be a liquidator, there's very specific reasons and qualifications for people to become liquidators, will now run the company's business in winding up the operations.
Adriaan, 2 weeks ago, a story came out in one of the Sunday newspapers, and it was about the departments of Correctional Services and in tandem with the Treasury Department, where the story was that the intention is to now blacklist this company, Bosasa, along with its directors from doing business with government. Does this process now expedite that particular process, do you think?
That's an interesting question. I think, look, the question whether they should have been blacklisted long ago is a separate one. But yes, I do think by doing this, Bosasa basically closes shop. So there won't be a Bosasa or Africa Global anymore. So the purpose of blacklisting is, of course, to prohibit, limit companies from doing business with government companies who are corrupt and steal taxpayers' money. So if there's no Bosasa, there can be no more tenders to Bosasa. So I guess that will also influence and impact that process. I think what's still important is that one traces back why this hasn't happened over many years. We've heard testimony in front of the Zondo Commission that Tom Moyane, the former Correctional Services Commissioner, and also the former head of SARS, actually helped Bosasa in not being blacklisted, and all those issues must still be dealt with.
Just as a final question to you, Adriaan, this is the second company that we know of that has publicly been embarrassed like this by the banks. What are the lessons out there for companies who conduct business in the same fashion that the Guptas did and now Bosasa?
Well, I think there's lessons for companies who conduct corrupt business, that they will be blacklisted, they will not be able to operate. But there's also lessons for the banks, and I hope we can have that hard conversation in this country about banks allowing businesses who are accused of a range of things in the media, in the public, in court cases, to continue operating until the end, until it became so clear that what was happening here was not only, corruption, but state capture. I hope we've also reached that point, and we can have that hard discussion with the banking industry about being more proactive in this regard.
Absolutely spot on. That's Adriaan Basson. He is the editor-in-chief of News 24.